I'm very excited to have my next guest join us. She's a very talented singer and songwriter who just dropped her debut album. The future is here, but it feels kind of like the past. Annie Hamilton. Hello,
Hi,
Annie.
Pete. Hi, Pete. How are you going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, great to meet you and talk to you. I thought we were done with these Zoom interviews, but this is kind of a special occasion. You're not going to be here in the States anytime soon.
No, so yeah, Zoom will have to do for now.
Yes. Where are you based?
I am based in Sydney, Australia.
Nice, nice. And I don't know, how are things? Are you going back to shows? Are you getting somewhat back into a normal groove?
Yeah, things are finally starting to feel a bit more normal. It's obviously like such a roller coaster, and I think we've all just become accustomed to the fact that anything can change at any minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, shows are starting to happen. I've got my album tour happening in the next few weeks around Australia. So it's nice. I've missed live music so much, so it's nice that it's back.
And during the last 2.5 years, it's been interesting for you because it really has given you time to breathe, look at what type of material that you want to release, as well as getting inspiration. And I found that very interesting that I wanted to bring up and have you talk about in terms of analyzing relationships and how you are as a person and personal growth. I feel like there was a lot of self-analysis. Is that particularly the case in this group, this collection?
Yeah, I think with this album, I mean, it took me the last 2 years to make. I started writing it at the beginning of lockdown in 2020 because I was supposed to go on tour with The National. I was singing backing vocals for them for their Australia New Zealand tour. And that was kind of the first thing that got cancelled. And lockdown kind of came in, a few days before what was meant to be the first show. So I suddenly had all this time up my sleeve. And then that's when I started working on the album. And I originally was like, oh, I'll just make an album. It'll only take me like a month or two. I'll just wait till the pandemic's over. We're back then when we thought it was just going to be a few weeks and then it would all go back to normal.
Right.
But it ended up taking me 2 years basically. And so it was really this huge process of self-reflection and self-analysis because a lot of it was I did by myself. Like I produced a lot of it by myself. I wrote all the songs myself. I spent a lot of time, as we all did, in isolation. And so it kind of did become this kind of much deeper project about really, delving a lot deeper than I think I initially thought I would.
Usually with a debut album, it's a collection of material that has been a lifetime in the making. It's the introduction to the world of that particular artist, but you having history in a band and having the EP and so forth, was there a song or were there any songs that did hark back to the early days of young teenage Annie that you included or maybe reworked to bring into the present?
It's so interesting because it's like, yeah, it's this interesting concept where you would think that a debut album is that kind of like, this is what I've spent my life making and here it is. Whereas mine doesn't really feel like that. It feels more like this kind of weird, I don't know, like this weird project that emerged out of this like bizarre situation that takes place in this like weird alternate reality, surreal dream world that I invented as a way of dealing with and coping with the last 2 years. Whereas the music I'm constantly writing and I'm working on new music. And now I'm like, oh, cool. My next album can be like, this is me. Or I guess maybe the EP is that. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing because like it's not the album that I guess I thought would be my debut album, but it's the album that happened and I love it and I'm really proud of it. And I think it also pushed me in so many different directions that I wouldn't have gone in otherwise, like the more electronic elements on the album that emerged from me sitting by myself in my bedroom in lockdown for weeks and months on end, experimenting with music production, where I kind of discovered all these new sounds that totally changed the course of sonically the direction that the album was going in, and new songs emerged out of those sounds. So it's kind of like this weird, it's like if I had imagined what the trajectory would be like, we took a weird turn somewhere along the way and ended up in this new place, but like, it's awesome.
And leading up to this, you have a wealth of experience. I know this is your debut album, but and people are just getting introduced to Annie Hamilton as a solo artist, but you have previous lives in different bands, and in particular Little May. And when you were first starting out making music, did you intend to be in a group, or was it kind of just how things happened as you were finding your way?
Yeah, I mean, my experience in Little May was so incredible because I think when I had always played music and I had always played guitar, but I was really self-conscious and I didn't think it was the kind of thing, like I was like, there's no way I could ever do solo music. I'm too scared, and like, or, you know, I'm not good enough, or all these kind of self-doubt things. And joining that band really helped me find my feet and learn so much about music and writing music and making music, but also getting confidence in my own ability and realizing that actually I can write songs and I can do it, and just kind of feeding the hunger to keep making stuff and keep going. So it was such an awesome few years in the band, and you know, we got to tour through the States. We did so much amazing stuff. We like released music, but it did get to a point where then having been in the band for a few years, I started working on my own music and writing my own songs. And yeah, I just really kind of had this pull to focus on my own project, and I started my own fashion label around the same time. So I all of a sudden was just like, I can't fit everything in, and it wouldn't be fair to the girls in the band for me to keep doing it half-heartedly when I don't really have the time and energy to fully, you know, commit everything to it. So it was such a tough decision to leave the band, but I left after the first album, and that's when I started really focusing on my own music.
That's really interesting. It sounds like that when you were first starting out, and I understand you're self-taught as well, right? So in a way, you're making music for yourself, but
Yeah.
to go out into the world and share it and kind of do that as a profession is a totally different beast. So therefore you kind of use the band as a shield in a way to kind of protect you from any type of criticism or whatever insecurities you have.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, the concept of the shield, as you said, because that's one thing that I've really found since working on my own music and releasing this album now. It's kind of terrifying because, I mean, it's amazing because like I have full control of the vision and I can make exactly what I want to make, and I get to make all the creative decisions. And, you know, I'm very hands-on, like I produce a lot of it. I do a lot of my own artwork and graphic design, or I'm very involved in the videos. I've directed a few of my own videos. So I do tend to get like a bit control freaky, where it's like, this is my vision and I can fully do it myself. But then it also means that I don't have anyone to kind of share it with. And if it doesn't, it's like you don't have anyone to share the success with, but also if there's things that don't go as well as you'd hoped, you don't have anyone to kind of share in that feeling with. So it's like this interesting thing where it's amazing, and I love doing it myself. I love having my own project, but there's something nice about being in a band where you have each other, when, you know, like you have the shield of being in it together for the good times and the bad times.
Obviously, you're talented in music. You also are very talented in design. And are you working on any other projects outside of music?
Yeah, so I've got some new designs in the works. I'm actually wearing a sample from my new collection.
Oh.
So this like very shiny, liquidy kind of satin. I've got a few shirts and different pieces in this fabric. So yeah, I've got like a new collection. It's been, I mean, same with everything the last couple of years. It's been hard to manufacture and hard to kind of keep the fashion project running. But I mean, I make a lot of the clothes for my videos. All the clothes in my videos and my photos I make myself, including all the more costumey things like the giant bat wings and other bits and pieces like that. So yeah, I'm excited to be making more physical stuff, because as like the music is the most important thing to me, but then the physical stuff is like so fun and exciting. Like making physical, tangible objects that can reflect the world of the music is like my favorite thing.
What is it about bats that you like about so much?
The bats just became this recurring theme throughout the lyrics of the album. I didn't kind of sit down, and it wasn't planned. They just kept emerging in all these songs that I was writing. And I think it's because in lockdown, so every night at dusk, thousands of bats fly over the house that I was living in. Like they have this nightly ritual where they leave the trees where they live and they go and find food in the night. So it's like every night at dusk, the bats fly over. And in lockdown, because I couldn't go anywhere, I would just go and sit in the garden every night and watch the bats. And that was my kind of like nightly ritual, would be like, go and sit and watch the bats. And it became this really beautiful time of like, you know, just reflection or having a moment of stillness or getting off my screen or like taking some time out.
Well, hey, congrats on this debut album. It is fantastic. And congratulations on the new fashion, and I look forward to what you have coming up, especially touring here in the States, performing live.
Thanks so much for having me, Pete. It's been so awesome to chat, and I can't wait to get back to the States, hopefully in the next few months.